Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Hoop Rat, bringing you to another video about the Portland TRAILBLAZERS and how I think they are going to shock everyone this season. We're going to be going in and breaking down what moves they made this offseason and how they are going to actually shock everyone this season. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching my channel. It really means a lot, every single one of you that are watching my channel. Can't say it enough how much support you guys have been giving to my channel lately. My last video is at 2,200 views, and I really appreciate every single one of you that are watching the video. So with that being said and that out of the way, let's get into the video. Start the intro. So the first player we have to talk about is Robert Covington. Robert Covington was on the Rockets last season, and this season he was traded to the Portland TRAILBLAZERS for Trevor Ariza and a couple first-round picks. I think this was a very good move for the Portland TRAILBLAZERS. Robert Covington's a very similar player to a Trevor Ariza, but he's younger. I mean, Trevor Ariza's 35, and I think Robert Covington's 29 or something like that. So I think it's an upgrade. They get younger, and Robert Covington's a defensive stopper, 3-and-D, and it really can plug into basically any team you want him to. I don't see any team that wouldn't want Robert Covington on their team, and any team that if he was on there wouldn't be an upgrade for them. So I think that with that addition alone, I think they'll be able to do a lot more than they were able to last season because they upgraded on that position from Trevor Ariza to Robert Covington. The next move the Portland TRAILBLAZERS made is re-signing Rodney Hood to a 2-year, $21 million deal. I think this is a very good move for them because of how well Rodney Hood played before his injury. Last season he was out for most of the season with an Achilles injury, but the season before that he was very much a focal point of the offense and helped them to get to the Western Conference Finals just the year before last. So I think him coming back and him being able to help the team, if he's healthy of course, will be a great addition to the team. So although this wasn't a addition to the team because he was already on the team, it is a re-signing because he opted out of his player option. So I think this will prove to be a very good signing for the Portland TRAILBLAZERS. I mean, he was shooting the lights out from three the season before he got injured, and I think he will prove to be a very big help to the Portland TRAILBLAZERS and help them to go far in the playoffs. So the next player we have to talk about is Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony was added to the Portland TRAILBLAZERS halfway through the season last season and proved to be a very good player for them. He averaged about 15 points per game and was someone that was a spark for them off the bench. I think when Carmelo was able to come off the bench, he proved to be someone that was very efficient and able to help the team do a lot better. And then in the bubble, he started some games. So I think whether he's coming off the bench or starting, we will see him prove to be a very productive player this year. We'll see who starts between Robert Covington, Carmelo, and Rodney Hood. In my opinion, out of those three players, two of them will start on the Portland TRAILBLAZERS. I mean, we already know Dame, CJ, and Nurk are going to start this next season. So we'll see who those other two spots are going to be given to. But in my opinion, keeping Carmelo coming off the bench because he's pretty old. He was drafted in 2003. I think that will help him to stay efficient by not having to get as tired as quickly. I mean, Carmelo is 36, so I think if he comes off the bench, I think he still will be able to be productive and help the TRAILBLAZERS do a lot of good this season. Some other notable additions are Enes Kanter and Derrick Jones Jr. I think Enes Kanter will prove to be a pretty solid backup behind Jusuf Nurkic, and Derrick Jones Jr., the dunk contest winner. I mean, we all know who should have gone to, really, Aaron Gordon. But Derrick Jones Jr. is a solid player from the Heat, and I think he'll prove to be another good addition to the TRAILBLAZERS. But I think the biggest thing why the TRAILBLAZERS won this season is because Jusuf Nurkic is going to be healthy this whole season. Last season, Jusuf Nurkic was out basically the whole season until the playoffs, and they were barely able to squeak in to the playoffs and become that 8th seed, where they got gentlemen swept by the Lakers, so they lost 4-1. But with the rotation, I mean, let me tell you all the players that the rotation the Blazers are going to have. So they got Damian Lillard, of course, CJ McCollum, Robert Covington, Carmelo Anthony, Yusuf Nurkic, Gary Trent Jr., who is a lights out from 3-point range. I mean, we saw him in the playoffs and he couldn't miss. And then they got Rodney Hood still, Derrick Jones Jr., Enes Kanter, and Anthony Simons. I mean, name one of those players who isn't good. All those players are going to be a contribution to their team and help them to be very, very dangerous in the Western Conference. In my opinion, the Trailblazers are the second best team in the West behind the Lakers. I think they're above the Clippers, and I think they're above the Mavs and the Nuggets right now. I think with the addition of Robert Covington and re-signing Rodney Hood, I mean, him coming back from injury, they're gonna be scary in the playoffs. And we also can't forget about Zach Collins, who's gonna be someone who is scary next season if he's healthy. I think Zach Collins was really coming into his own, and then he kind of got a few injuries. But I think this season he's gonna come back healthy, and he's gonna prove to be a very strong asset for the Portland Trailblazers. So with that being said, I think the Portland Trailblazers are going to be someone we have to watch out for next season. I think the rotation they have is very, very good. They're very, very deep. I just think they do not have enough firepower to beat the Lakers. I see them as a Western Conference Finals team. I don't see anyone on that team that can guard LeBron or AD. Realistically, I mean, Yusuf Nurkic would cover AD, and probably Robert Covington would guard LeBron. I think that's the reason why they picked up Robert Covington, to get someone to guard LeBron. But I still think LeBron James would bully Robert Covington, and he would overpower him, just because Robert Covington is not big enough to guard LeBron, in my opinion. So if you made it this far in the video, comment down below where you think the Portland Trailblazers will land next season. What seed do you think they are going to be? I personally think they're going to be the 2 seed in the West next season. I think last season they had a bunch of injuries and kind of made them drop lower than they actually were. I mean, you saw them in the playoffs. They were cooking. Just because they went up against the Lakers, they weren't able to make it as far as they would have otherwise. So comment down below what seed you think the Trailblazers will be next season, where you have them in the Western Conference with all the firepower in the Western Conference. So to close this video out, I think the Trailblazers have tons of firepower. I think they have so many players on the team that are going to be used as either trade assets, or they're going to help them go deep into the playoffs. As I said before, I think they're a Western Conference Finals team currently, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I could totally see them potentially beating the Lakers. They have so much firepower on their team. So let me know, again, what you guys think of that. Again, to close this video out, thank you so much for watching my channel. It really means so much to me, every single one of you that have been a supporter to this channel. I really appreciate every single one of you. So if you liked the video, drop a like, comment, and subscription down below. It really helps more people view videos like this. And I'm Hoop Brat.